Welcome to DC, straight from the pit. Dave C here. Thought for today's episode, we could talk about the 1986 Conquest X-30 jet. And recently I said I was going to do a lot of 1986 reviews on the channel coming up. And this is a pretty big one. Everybody kind of knows how important this jet is to G.I. Joe and its Air Force. Next to the Sky Striker, as shown down there, this one was definitely the second best and most famous G.I. Joe jet for the time. And here's a better look at it here. I really like looking at it like this because you can see how the design team did a really good job designing this thing. And of course this thing is based on the United States Air Force Grumman X-29, which was a experimental jet from 1984 for the U.S. Air Force. And one of the things I remember about it, seeing it as a kid, was it had like a World War II type mouth with the teeth and the eyes. World War II fighter. And I really like seeing that on there. And this is a really nice design. And you can totally see how they captured the Grumman X-29 with this toy. When I was a kid, I didn't have this toy. It was one of the ones that eluded me. I did have a Sky Striker, as I've talked about before on this channel. So this one I'm not really that familiar with, and I wasn't able to get one until last Christmas, so I didn't have this one for a long time. This aircraft was known for its excellent maneuverability, and the way the wings were designed enabled it to be that way. As written on the back of the box in 1986, it said, "The Conquest X-30 onboard computers controlled the advanced forward swept wing design, capable of precise maneuverability." And the armament consisted of 4 AIM-12 Light Sparrow air-to-air missiles. And as you can see there's the 4, 2 on each wing. And the bombs were called Mk3 Pike IRGB infrared guided bombs. And there's 1 on each wing, as you can see there, in the gray coloring. And on the front of the jet, there's these 25mm cannons, or machine guns. And that looks a lot like a World War II fighter. One thing I really liked about the 1986 G.I. Joe Tomahawk from this year is that it had actual rubber wheels. And this one's no exception. As you can see there, those wheels are rubber. And that's the landing gear on the front. And there's a landing gear on the back. And yeah, they're rubber wheels. And just a really cool design. And when you want to land this thing on the flag, you drop these down. And they come down pretty easy. Here's a better look inside the cockpit. And you can see here, it's got a seat in there the pilot can sit in. But yeah, you can see in there's some pretty cool detail. And on the side there's some control panel type stuff, as well as on the other side. And it's got this plastic glass canopy which comes down and snaps shut. I really like how they configured the decal design on this. The 1985 G.I. Joe lettering, even though it's 1986. I really like that. And I like this version because I have a United States version, which is always nice to have. Up here in Canada, we're kind of always stuck getting the Canadian version, so it's kind of cool to have an American one. And there's the wing decal there of the X-30. And it's got a bright yellow jet engine on the back there. And I like the color scheme of this thing. The gray and the black accents here. I mentioned before with the mouth there and the eye. Here's the box art for the Conquest. I don't have a box, so got to make do with this 3D Joe's art book. And as you can see, it has the 1986 G.I. Joe lettering, the raised lettering that was from 1986 to 1989 on the top. It says Real American Hero, Conquest X-30. Weapons do not shoot. And you can see the pilot in there, codenamed Slipstream. And down here, you can see he's in a bubble. It says includes Conquest X-30 pilot Slipstream with swivel arm battle grip. And I like this box art because it shows another Conquest there flying by. So it definitely lets you know as a kid that there's more than just one of these. And as we found out later in the comic and in the cartoon, there's quite a few of these things. And as any Air Force would have, the G.I. Joe team has a plethora of options. And this was an experimental jet that they got to use. And just a really kick-ass jet for that time. Side by side with the Sky Strikers would be pretty unbeatable. Here's the 1986 pamphlet that came with all the 1986 G.I. Joe vehicles for that year. And over here, we've got the Conquest X-30, as shown there. It says number 9. Onboard computers control the advanced forward-swept wing design capable of precise navigation. Carries a complete range of missiles and bomb armament necessary for dogfights with Cobra, and rear landing gear, removable drop tanks, hydraulic hatch, and expert flyer Slipstream. And it even has the actual size there, so parents wouldn't feel like they're getting ripped off if they got a tiny sub, like in a comic book. No, I'm just kidding. But anyway, yeah, that's kind of helpful information that usually isn't in these pamphlets, as far as I can remember. And pretty cool that they have that listed there. The aircraft came with the pilot Slipstream, of course, and there he is. And before we take a look at him, I thought we could look at the file card information for this character. It says codename Slipstream, Conquest X-30 pilot, Cyclone X-26A, recap, Radical electronically controlled attack plane. File name Gregory B. Boyajian. Primary military specialty fighter pilot. Secondary military specialty computer technology. Birthplace Provo, Utah. Pay grade 05, first lieutenant. I haven't really looked at his art in this book, and I think that Herb Trimpe did an excellent job. As you can see, there is Slipstream, drawn by the classic Marvel artist for the G.I. Joe comics. Slipstream was a video game whiz and computer hacker until he discovered flying. He joined the Junior Civil Air Patrol while a teenager, and eventually got his Air Force commission through the ROTC. He finished at the top of his class in flight school, where his knowledge of computers and his lightning reflexes gave him a keen competitive edge. He speaks American, Greek, and French, plays a mean game of table tennis, and is known in the pit as an unrepentant joker and mimic. An aircraft with computer-assisted control surfaces can do things that are impossible for a conventional plane. Flat turns without banking, flight axis shift, and horizontal rolls. The controls are incredibly sensitive, the slightest tremor being translated into drastic movement. It takes a light touch to fly a ship like that, and Slipstream has the touch, the eye, the brain, and the guts to make that aircraft do exactly what he wants. Here's a better look at his figure, and he's got a pretty cool color scheme with the brown and the cream and the tan. Basic flight suit. I think he's a good looking figure. He's got a helmet with goggles, a radio microphone. He's got a handgun in his holster. Looks to be a .45. Got a silver belt buckle. Gray flight pants. I did a video on him before and talked about how his nose has a tendency to rub off. and underneath it's black. And I made a joke that we call him a brown noser in one of my videos a little while ago. But yeah, I like Slipstream, and I think that his figure is a good depiction of this pilot. Slipstream is in the Marvel comic from the 80s, as well as the Summer animated series, and he's on a special episode with a Night Raven pilot for Cobra named Raven, and they have kind of a romantic adventure, and she's a pretty cool pilot. She's really tough, and on the cartoon they go through adventures together, and at the end of it they kind of hint that maybe they might hook up. So I really enjoyed that episode, and if you want to check that one out, I did a special, Valentine's special last year, and I featured that couple on my Valentine's episode. Alright guys, that's all I got for today. Hope you're enjoying the winter so far. I am. And I'm really looking forward to doing many, many more 1980s G.I. Joe videos in the future.